can I tell you a quick story about baby boomers? Since we're talking about millennials.
Sure, yes, of course.
Okay, I have to tell you about this guy, this wizard that I ran into.
Oh, okay, the story's already fun.
Okay, so
His name was Merlin.
No. Actually, it was.
No,
I swear.
Get out of here.
But you took my punchline. I'm
done. Sorry. John can relate.
Thanks.
No way.
I swear.
What's going on?
Okay, so here's what happens. I'm up north. We're doing this northern tour, and we are. I can't remember which city now. There were so many, but this older gentleman comes up. He's probably about 80 years old, and Lisa, who's with me, she's with my campaign. She says he looks like Merlin the wizard. Mm-hmm. And this guy comes up and he wants to know about the campaign. He wants to know what we're talking about. He wants to know who I am. And he introduces himself. His name is Merlin. Lisa and I about drop right there. Like, no way, did this really happen? Now, this also happened just a few days after that poll came out. Remember, we put out that petition for people to sign because the polls are totally skewing and only running really the corporate candidates, not including everybody, right? You can go to my website and still sign that petition. So this guy comes up out of nowhere. He learns about the campaign. I don't speak anything about this poll. And one of the first things he says to me is, don't listen to the polls. Keep going, keep going.
You know why?
Why?
Because he's a wizard.
Exactly.
Did I take your punchline again?
Yes. That's okay. I'm getting used to it already. I'm a fast learner. And so, but then he goes on to explain that his generation, the baby boomers, really ruined things. They dropped the ball. They were fighting this progressive fight in the 60s, and they let the corporations come in and really take over, right? So I tell him about some volunteers that I've had who are in his generation that have said the same thing. Before I can finish and get to my point with him, he starts to cry.
Oh, wow.
And I immediately finish and I say, look, you really led the way for us. You paved the way. Now we are here to pick up the torch, to finish what you started. And this guy, choking back tears, he says, don't forget about us. There's a whole voting block of baby boomers who are just waiting for leaders like you to step up and carry forward that torch.
Oh, I love it. So I'm glad I didn't know the ending of the story.
Or ruin it.
Yeah, right, exactly. That reminds me of a story of a guy who wrote in for Wolfpack. That's the group that Alison led, and to get money out of politics. And he said that he was a freedom rider. So the Freedom Riders rode the buses into the South, integrated buses, blacks and whites together, and they fought for civil rights. And those guys were so courageous. So what we do in comparison is nothing, right? So when they would stop in the middle of Mississippi, as an example, the Klan would be waiting for them. I can't get that image out of my head.
I know, that's crazy.
It's not, there's no cell phones, there's no one coming to help. The cops are not on your side in that part of Mississippi.
They might be members of the KKK.
That's right. And guys in hoods are waiting for you when the bus stops in the middle of the night. Those guys had courage. And one of them wrote in and said, I hadn't done anything since, and you guys energized me, and I'm back in the fight, and we're gonna get money out of politics, and we're gonna end the corruption.
I actually think I know who you're talking about. He's in Oregon, and he is the guy I was telling Merlin the wizard about.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, now you're finishing my thoughts.
And by the way,
almost as if you led Wolfpack.
Yeah, almost as if.
He's back just in time since the Nazis have also come back.
Now here we are again in the middle of that fight.